Hello, my dear old things. Welcome to Who's Your Captain? It's game week 15 and I think I have to be positive. I've had a good week. Who'd have thought it? For those of you who have been here since the beginning, who've been watching a man have a bit of a breakdown, things have turned a corner. No one would have believed it. The bookies were paying out on this man never playing FPL again. But no, Luke Hempner is back. The PK lookalike. We're back. So I've had a good week. 71 points. I have to be happy with that. I mean, my rank is still about 1.6 million. So I'm not dancing in the streets. I'll be honest with you. But I am pleased. Look, we're going to get to the league standings once I get my guest on. But the guy that I'm chasing in my main mini league, of course, the Who's Your Captain is your main mini league, but my main mini league with the GFM boys, the Great Footballing Minds, Chris Thatcher with a -4. I mean, I don't know why I'm adding that, but he got 97, and he's a Spurs fan. So I'm like watching Spurs. They're playing, the week before when Spurs were playing Newcastle, he had Almiron and Wilson. They smashed it. This week I'm thinking Villa, looking a look good against Brentford, 4-0, and then they lose Martinez. So Olsen comes in. Olsen looks... I could have played in goal instead of Olsen. It looked more like the Olsen twins. Am I right? And then they won 4-0. And Wilson, he got 5 assists. There was only 4 goals. It's insane. So that annoyed me. Other things that annoyed me. I mean, I care more about my mini-league than my rank. I'll be honest with you, if I finished 10 million in the world but I won my mini-league, I'd be happy with that. I mean, looking at Alex Brooker's mini-leagues that we looked at last week, you probably could finish about 8 million and still win their mini-league. Sorry, Alex, and your mates. Please come on again. But I care so much about my mini-league. It put me in a proper mood. I was at a little Halloween party, and I was sat there and my wife was like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah." Just annoyed, because I've seen Wilson Almiron kick ass again. That annoyed me. And then I was at the Arsenal game, and I saw Arsenal win 5-0. You'd think, delight, top of the league. What could be better than sitting there, seeing your club win 5-0, go top of the league, and I'm sitting going, "Oh, I had Saka, he's my differential, and he gets an assist, and then he goes off after 24 minutes. He was destroying Loddy. Old Loddy. Oh, he was plodding around. Ploddy. Old Ploddy. Saka was annihilating him. But he didn't get kick on the ankle. Oh. So I'm sat there at 5-0. My mate next to me doesn't play fantasy football. And I was going, "Oh, Saka." And he's like, "It's all right. Nelson's come on." I haven't got Nelson, have I? I got Saka. Anyway, also, do you like my top? Do you like the way? It's a lovely top. And it with the green screen, ridiculous. That's a bit of fun. Now, remember, you need to subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying the lovely content. I'm going to look for my button. There's my button. There, click on that, subscribe. We're up to 114 subscribers. I want to get to 125 before next week. Come on, that's 11 more of you. 11 more subscribers to get to 125. That's very good. Join the league. There you go. You can join the league. I'll put a link in the description. But join the league, XFAJ7V. Now, let me get to my guest. We've got a fantastic guest this week. Someone who knows what they're doing when it comes to FPL. Not me, not Ian Sterling, not Alex Brooker, not all these idiots, right? Someone who knows what they're doing, okay? Right, and here's news. Someone who knows what they're doing, right? And here's, now, I mean, you'll know who it is because it's written on the thumbnail of this description. But pretend you can't see that. Here's a little hint of who it is, okay?
All right. So, I've been doing this for my family, playing FPL. Isn't that right, Jesse? You sure is, Mr. White. Oh, well, you're sort of giving my name away there. Now, you all out there, you've been buying my product, my FPL team that I have been doing for Skylar and Walt Jr., my family. When I've been telling you who to captain, you've captained them. Now, Jesse, say my name. Walter White, bitch. No, my actual name. Oh, Wesley Pickett. No, not Wesley. My FPL online Twitter handle name. FPL Heisenberg, bitch. You goddamn right.
So, look, the preparation that goes in, you've got to be impressed. Okay, now I'm going to welcome my guest. He's going to unmute himself, and I'm going to welcome onto the stream the wonderful, the incredible, the very talented and expert at FPL. It's FPL Heisenberg. Hey, buddy.
Oh, mate, let me just say straight off the bat, I was cracking up with my mic
Yes!
obviously muted. That was spot on. So I need to clip that little bit up for sure and get that on Twitter. I can't see for people who don't know, I can't actually see Luke's face as we're recording.
Gorgeous.
But
it's gorgeous.
It is. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it with the facial expressions as
well.
Oh,
thanks, man.
Clipping that up for Twitter.
Yeah, good. Well, I spent a nigh on 4 minutes on that, so you should be very, very proud of that. Thank you so much for coming on, man. It's absolutely delightful to have you here. Now, I consider you an expert, right? You're one of the people that I'll text going, what should I do? What should I do? Right? And you give me nice, detailed, analytic answers, because sometimes I play off vibes, sometimes I play off FPL Heisenberg. Now, look, FPL Heisenberg, can I call you by your proper name, Wes, or Walter White, or what? Or would you rather FPL Heisenberg all the way through? What would you prefer?
Yeah, just Wes is fine, mate. But yeah, whatever you want, dickhead.
No, oh God, no. I respect you too much. So, no, we'll call you FPL Wes. Although Will is what I called you for the first 3 times I texted you until you corrected me. But no, so thank you. So now, do you care more about your mini league or more about your overall rank?
Yeah, it's difficult. Definitely back in the day, it was all about mini leagues, and I didn't even, I thought, why should I care about how I'm doing against everyone in the world? I just want to beat my mates. And that's still the case. But for me, because it's obviously a full-time job now, having a good rank in the world overall helps with my job. And also, if I've got a good rank over, if I come in the top 1K, I'm probably going to win my mini leagues as well. So it's best of both worlds that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of bragging rights and that, you always want to beat your mates. So it's definitely a big thing for me as well.
Are you still allowed in your mini leagues? Because you're really good at fantasy football. Do they just Wes, seriously, mate, you ain't playing this year?
Yeah, I did get booted from some an old work league I was in. They made the excuse that I didn't work there anymore. But in terms of some leagues,
sports.
Sometimes I come like second or third if it's a big mini league, and then I think with my friends as well, if they just want to beat me now. So if they do beat me, they've got ultimate bragging rights. Whereas if I beat them, it's like, you do it all day, every day, so you should do.
Yeah, you're the Man City now.
I can't really win. I can only lose.
You're the Man City of the FPL world now amongst your mates. Yeah. Now, as well, you say, so this is your full-time job now. So who do you work for? Tell us how long has it been full-time for you?
Full-time was August 2020. So what's that? 2 years and a few months.
Good man.
And that was been mainly working for Hub. So I help run their socials, do a team reveal on Hub.
Fantastic website, fantastic YouTube content.
Yeah, I had to go on Hub's YouTube.
Yeah.
Some WhatsApp stuff for Hub as well. So there's a lot of stuff with Hub. I'm really close with the guys there at Hub. So, and then there's little bits on the side that like
Sky Sports.
Sky.
Yes.
Yeah, Sky Sports. What else? My Patreon.
Love it.
So yeah, there's just all these little bits add up, and then it's like, that's a sort of, I can make the same amount of money doing this as like a boring sort of office job like I used to have. So it's kind of the same money, but a job I prefer.
No, absolutely brilliant. And with the Sky Sports stuff, because obviously, it's big. I know you've done lots of YouTube stuff, but Sky Sports, I mean, that's massive. Do you get a little bit nervous with that, or do you feel quite relaxed? I mean, you know what you're talking about, I suppose.
Yeah, that's the thing. If I had to go on Sky Sports and talk about like rugby or something, then I'd be like,
you're deaf.
Like, oh my God, no. Yeah, for sure. I have no clue about rugby or anything. But yeah, with FPL, I feel confident now, and I've done Skype TV shows for the Premier League for Sky. I've done the Fantasy Premier League show in the studio as well. So I'm kind of used to the studio vibe now a little bit. Did a few of them last year. So the nerves were definitely less than without all that other all those other shows leading up to Sky. If that was my first ever appearance, I'm sure I'd have been nervous, but I was actually okay. And obviously you go on TV yourself as well. I try and tell myself that I'm excited rather than nervous, and that tends to help.
Totally. That's a very good way of putting it. I always just think, I love doing this. I love showing off. So like, why not enjoy it? That's fantastic, exactly. Man. Now look, I'm gonna get your history up here because it is very, very impressive. Okay. The highlight has got to be your 2017-18 season when you finished. Where did you finish?
836. I've got that one
Yes,
memorized.
as if you're like you're trying to pretend you're. Yeah. I think it was
Yeah.
836. It could be 37. Don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, that must have been. What was that like in that season?
Yeah, that was a really good season, and I think I'm right in. Yeah, so basically with my to take it back a bit further with my
Yeah.
sort of progression in FPL in terms of like the building up on Twitter and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
When I started off that account I turned an old account actually in the summer of 2017
Okay.
into FPL Heisenberg and started making FPL content that
Yeah.
way. So it was helpful that first season of trying to build myself up on Twitter.
Yeah.
I actually had obviously my best ever year, which obviously then cemented me as someone who sort of knows what they're talking about. So that was really helpful, and yeah, it was just a great season. I think
And
along the
because
way,
you'd had a
obviously,
brilliant season in 2017. So you had this, because to be
Yeah.
honest with you, right, I had planned to do Who's Your Captain. In my notes, I had planned to do a podcast in 2017, right? And I pitched
Oh,
it to a
really?
few people, pitched it to Five Live. I've never actually told this to Alistair Bruce Ball, who does their Five Live podcast with Chris Sutton and Statman Dave. So I pitched it to Five Live, and they went, "No, I don't know if we're really looking for that." They started one that a year after, thanks. But I started this idea, and then I haven't got around to it until this year. But I started it when I was doing well.
Yeah.
And especially last year, I was like, right, next year I'm doing it. And last year, at one point, I was like 2000th in the world. I was
Nice.
absolutely crushing it. And I was like, right, now I've got to do this. And then this season, I'm having the worst season of my life.
Yeah.
But so obviously you finished, in the 9,239th in the world, and you were just like, right, I've got to start making this more official now.
Yeah, I think you're probably right actually, because it was off the back of that was a good season. I think the seasons apart from my first season, I can't actually see it now. I think that was like, that was a learning season.
200,000.
Yeah, learning the
Still
ropes
not
there,
bad,
but
to be fair.
yeah, it's all right for a first season to be fair, and then got the bug for it. And again, in mini leagues at that time, I think that was enough to get me like second place.
Yeah.
But- And then like the next season took it seriously, did okay, and then 2017-18 did well. Last season was a bit of a stinker.
It's
I
funny
like
though,
to
isn't
use
it?
the
It's like to most
Yeah.
people watching, they'll be like, because you finished 105,000th in the world, and a lot of
Yeah.
people will be going, "Oh, that'd be amazing." Where for you, like that is a stinker compared to like all your other
Yeah.
finishes.
I know. I'm trying to, like I said, I'm trying to blame COVID and all that. Do you remember last season? It was like Aston
Yes.
Villa got called off like an hour before the deadline, and I think I was already shafted, taking a -8. I think I had to take a emergency free hit. It was just a nightmare. So yeah, I think it did. In all seriousness, it did have a negative. I was just one of the unlucky ones who did tend to get shafted by all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
However, personal responsibility. It was obviously I must have made a few mistakes along the way.
Keeping Salah too
and
long?
got the rank I deserve. Say again.
Did you keep Salah too long? That was what I kept doing last season.
I think what actually saved. I think at the end of game week 36, I was around 200k. I then I captained Madison in game week 37, and then had a big. He had like I think he had a double game week and had a really big score.
Yeah.
That saved me a little bit and got me up to 105k. Game week 37 to game week 38 was good. I basically had to gamble, which is a style that I don't normally employ because I'm normally trying to consolidate my rank. But this time I was chasing, so I took a few gambles. I think I went without Salah from about game week 30 onwards. Again, I was chasing, which worked out okay. I think he had a bad sort of the last 8 or 9 game weeks. He didn't do anything amazing, did he?
Yeah, I kept him for too long and didn't get on Son quick enough, who was just battering me every week.
Yeah.
I was so far. I was 120 points. People have heard this so many times. I was so far ahead in my mini league. I've only won my mini league once out of 8 years. Right,
Yeah.
I've finished 7 points behind 1 year. Finished 17 points behind 1 year. Like really tough stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, emotionally. And then last year, 120 points clear. Game week 30, and by the end, I finished about 80 points off the top because I just kept trying to consolidate and going, no, I'm not going to panic. And every time I should have just gone, well, he's captain Son, so I captain Son. Or then he captain Ronaldo and I didn't have Ronaldo. And then, anyway, this is all last season. It's all very dull and I'm clearly over it, aren't I, Wes?
Clearly. Where did you end up in the end?
80,000th.
Yeah, so it's not bad. And I think what people, this is an important point to make actually. I think people need to realise that the top 10k gets banded around a lot on Twitter and on forums and stuff. Which is great if you can achieve it. I've done it a few times, obviously. But the thing with that these days is that's kind of a metric from, I'd say, 5, 6, 7, 8 maybe even 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
When there was only 1 million players, and of those 1 million, most people didn't have it on their phone as much. People forgot deadlines. Nowadays, mates in mini leagues who used to forget and have bad teams have all got good teams now. They're reading articles, they're watching videos like this, they're doing all these things. So the quantity of people playing this game has exploded, and the quality of those players playing has exploded as well. So I genuinely think the top 10k needs to be reframed to top 50k.
Okay.
Because there is a portion, it's a game where you put yourself in a position to get lucky, you bring players in, but ultimately, like you were just saying in your intro about you had Saka. I didn't have Saka, but I feel incredibly lucky that he only got a 4-pointer because, like you said, if he'd have stayed on in that demolition, I'm almost certain he'd have got 10 plus points, right? As a minimum.
More.
Maybe not, who knows,
say.
but say again.
More, I'd say.
Yeah.
I mean, it was insane. Well, look what Nelson did. I mean,
Exactly. So I feel quite fortunate there. So what I mean is there is obviously bits of luck here and there. You can never, if it was a pure 100% skill game, the best player in the world would literally come number one every year.
Yeah.
And the second best would come second pretty much. But there's elements of luck. And in my best ever season, I've had a little bit of good luck.
Yes.
And in my less seasons, I've had a bit of bad luck. But generally speaking, if I finish this season top 50k, I'd be more than happy because like I said, the field of players playing, and it's just insane now.
And especially with Haaland being such an auto pick, and we'll get to captaining the stuff this week. But with Haaland being such an auto pick, that's made it even harder to make these big, catch up on the league.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're just captaining Haaland every week, so you don't get that chance.
Yeah.
Okay, well, no, look, I'm going to have a little look at my score here. I don't think I've sent you my score, but my score, I got 71 points this week, so I'm buzzing.
Nice.
Pickford smashed it for me. And Pickford was the one that FPL Salah told me to get him. He said, get Pickford and he's got great fixtures and he's the one you need. And he's been absolutely right. So I should have trusted him and I almost didn't. But Pickford's been great. The only thing is he stopped Mitrovic getting any points, but I have to be happy because Pickford is owned by about 2%.
Yeah, for sure.
So Pickford was great for me, and then the only other sort of standouts, White getting 6 points, almost got an assist right at the end. Nico Williams, they need to start Nico Williams. I was at the game. Nico Williams comes on, and he's their best player. And he gives them so much in attack. So I'm just going to brush through this quickly. But Rashford, I bought in. That was positive. Foden, I kept because I was just look. I was it's either 20 minutes of Foden or I upgrade Archer to Edouard. Now, I should have done that. But even then, it would have been for a -4. And I think Edouard would have got 6 points. I'd have got 2. I'd have gained 2 points.
Exactly, yeah.
Martinelli, Saka, Salah captain, which I think I sort of got away with, really. And then Mitrovic up front. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously, I've got a nice little rank boost, and I just need to try and do that again for this week. I think I'm in a good place with Saka because I think he'll start against Chelsea. And we'll get to Foden and that situation. Now, I'm going to just put the league standards. I'm also going to shut the door because I can hear my wife talking. Hang on. Sorry about that. I mean, I would apologise, but you text me beforehand saying I've got a beef joint in, and I might have to go. I don't know. What are we going to do? Grease your beef joint?
I was gonna have to go and get out of the oven halfway through, but I I got it cooked just about in time.
Why are you cooking a massive beef joint on a Thursday afternoon?
It's a good question, but I want to try and change my diet basically to try and get off of carbs.
So you've gone on for full-on red meat.
Yeah.
My wife runs a gut health company.
Meat and veg. Say again?
My wife runs a gut health company.
Oh, really?
So I'm not sure roasting a beef joint in the middle of the day is what they'd suggest. I'd have to ask her. I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, listen, man, power to the people. Why not?
Yeah, we'll have to get her on to.
I know, yeah, exactly. Well, good for you. I mean, usually the answer is everything in moderation. So you enjoy your beef. Now I'm going to look at the league standings here. So this league standings for the Who's Your Captain League. Dross Barkley still up the top. Chris Thatcher, I mentioned, who's the guy I'm chasing with, is 97 with a -4. He's now got 858 points. Then we've got another 91 scorer from Nuno Foraya. He's gone up to 844 points. Which is then we've had John Salmon who's come in, which is Jesus said Paddy. Just Jesus Good Jesus, said Paddy. So good for John. He's done well. He got 68. He's coming at 5th. Gareth Strain, who's still there, although he had a bad score of 44. Quinton Mackay is a new entry in at 6th. Alistair Bruce Ball, 50 points. Not good, Ali BB. He's gone down to 8th. Ian Sterling, mate, I'm down to 9th. 54 points. I'm absolutely fuming. And then Chris Payne has come in as well with Happy World of Aribo. I mean, that's a lovely name. He's come in at 10th position, so I'm still nowhere near it. I looked at, I had such green arrows everywhere apart from the league I created because we've had more people join. So if you do want to join the league, XFAJ7V, you're going to join the league, aren't you, Wes, this week?
Yeah, I'm trying to do it now. I was looking on your Twitter to see if I could find the link, but yeah, ping me
I will.
on
an
WhatsApp.
Invite.
Yeah, send me the link to join on WhatsApp. I want to get in it.
Okay, yeah, we'll get you in it. How many points are you on? Where would you be?
I'm on 8. I think 808. Hold on.
808.
I think yes, 808.
Oh, you wouldn't be in the top 10, mate. I'm sorry about that. Come on, Wes. You're going to build this back. Okay, right.
I'm around 500k-ish at the minute, so yeah, it's not perfect right now.
500k. Okay, well, look, that's the league. Now, we're going to look at your points now. Now, I've got your points up here. Now, you got 54 points. Talk us through this team, FPL Heisenberg.
Yeah, shambles of a week. If you see the people who got me points, you know, a lot of people already have them. The likes of Trippier. It's like, I don't really care if he blanks or scores, to be honest.
No.
It's just nothing.
It's annoying, isn't it, now?
It is annoying. Pope, again, 6-pointer, but a lot of the other keepers like Pickford or Palace's keeper, can never pronounce it.
Guaita.
Yeah, he, you know, those sort of keepers did better anyway. So in the context of keepers, it wasn't even that great. Cancelo and Martinelli are the point scores I had in my point, whoever got. Salah captain helped me a little bit because I think some might have gone Kane.
Yes.
And yeah, just a lot of blanks all around. 1-pointers as well, like Foden, Tony getting suspended, Mitrovic getting another yellow card. He's almost suspended. Dyer getting rotated and rested.
Oh, I know.
And Dyer was a pick that I'm really gutted I made. Basically, I made it, you know, when the game was all condensed and there was a lot of rotation.
I did it as well, but I knew I had my wild card coming up.
Yeah, I basically got Dyer for a solid pick to guarantee those minutes rather than the other fullbacks who rotate for Spurs. And even he got rested because he needed, you know, they had such a big Champions League game. But yeah, I mean, fairly confident for this week again. My team on paper looked all right last week. It just didn't quite work out. It's just those small margins, isn't it? Like you had maybe, I can't remember who you just listed out who got you some points, but it's
Pickford was my main scorer, and then just looking at it, Saka with 4 points, Rashford, Ben White, That's what the annoying thing with Saka, because Saka should have been another double digit.
Yeah, sure.
Do you because you take this seriously? It's your professional job. Like I get in a right mood. And I go to myself, why am I in a mood? And I'm like, oh yeah, because something I basically have little control over didn't go my way. Like, do you get annoyed, upset? Does it bother you? Do you cook another beef joint? What happens, man?
Yeah, if I get a red arrow, it's a beef joint. That's
exactly. Red arrow, red meat.
How I deal with it. No, it's absolutely true. And it's impossible to avoid, because if you didn't feel like that, then you wouldn't also feel glad when you do have a good week or or beat your mates. If it didn't mean anything, then you wouldn't get the highs that come with it as well. So you have to take that. You have to accept it. What I try and do though is get over it as quickly as possible. So let yourself be annoyed on the Sunday night or Monday at the end of the game, whenever it is. But by Tuesday, Wednesday time, snap yourself out of it. Look forward to the next week. And also having that experience of maybe my first couple of seasons, a bad game week would have really affected me. But I know now that even in that season that we were just talking about, where I came 800-ish, that season, I remember having plenty of bad game weeks. I remember taking out Aguero before we scored a hat-trick or something like that. So even in those good seasons, and I'm pretty sure every season, whoever finishes number one will have a few bad game weeks for sure. So in terms of that, when it's individual bad game weeks, I don't mind. And I've proven over the years I can always, apart from last year, normally get myself back in there. So as long as I've had 4 red arrows in a row now, I'm still not panicking. I'm annoyed for sure, but you just got to be able to let yourself be annoyed, get over it as soon as possible, and don't make any decisions this is the most important part. Don't make any bad decisions based on being annoyed for your team, like an early, crazy -8 because you're annoyed at certain players. Like I'm pretty annoyed with players like Zaha and Mitrovic, but I'm not going to like -8 them out just because they're slightly annoying me. Do you know what I mean? So it's about that sort of stuff.
I've got a lot of friends text me as their expert, but like things like I'll get messages on the Sunday night going, "Shall I get rid of Haaland?" And I'm just like, chill, relax. Solomon is here. Just like get yourself through to like, especially this week as we might get leaked team news again. Just relax, chill, and take a bit of time. There's Champions League games, and I think the casual player tends to just go, right, well, I've got to do my thing now and get that sorted.
Yeah.
Where professionals like us, we take our time, right?
Exactly.
Now, on the leaks thing, what a lovely segue that is. God, I'm good. Now, with the leaks, what is your thought on the early team news leakage?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because I remember there was early team news for Liverpool away at Forest a couple of game weeks ago, and that didn't really benefit me because people who had Trent could bench Trent, knowing that an immediately rival of mine, I think, got to bench Trent and played Mings, who he would have otherwise benched, who ended up getting Villa turned the corner, had their 4-0, Mings got an assist, a clean sheet, and 10 points. So he made himself extra 9 points. He did say, however, he captained Salah that week because he knew he was up front and he didn't captain Haaland. So swings and roundabouts. But yeah, I think if it doesn't benefit you, then it's not. But obviously, if it's going to benefit me, I'm going to take it. With the Man City one last week, I was on Sky for that half an hour before the deadline, so I couldn't act on it. I wouldn't have done anything different anyway because with Foden,
because you stuck with Foden.
I stuck with Foden because I didn't know because I was on the screen.
And would you have sold Foden if you'd have known?
I don't think so and if I would have, it would have ended up being for Saka, I imagine, or whatever. I'd have just been thinking he was my transfer in last week as well, so I'd have been thinking, do I want to -4 him out? I'd have been thinking forward to, okay, he's benched this week away at Leicester. Maybe he can get a goal off the bench at Leicester, and also he's got a good chance of starting the next 2 really nice home fixtures.
Yeah.
So I'd have probably ridden it out. Maybe I'd have chucked him on my bench for one of my bench options, but they did all crap anyway. So.
Yeah. And what do you see? I have a theory of what the solution should be. What do you think FPL should do to sort of kind of stop? Because for me, it's really annoying that it's become a factor. Because actually, it kind of helped me in a way because I knew not to captain Salah instead of Haaland, but then everyone who had Salah as their vice anyway, like
exactly,
I just find it's not a skill to have this information.
I do agree, and for me, because I couldn't change it off Haaland in time because I was busy at the deadline, I was relying on I had Salah as vice, and luckily he did play. But if something would have randomly happened to Salah and he missed out, I'd have been without a captain. Whereas for someone like yourself who would have had chance to put a vice captain on as well, you'd have obviously got your vice captain points for someone else. So it could have really detrimented me. For me, my solution would be to make the deadline. So what is it now? An hour and a half before, maybe like 2 hours, 2.5 hours before. Something like that.
See, my theory, have it at the kickoff.
Well, the problem there is it helps people who have a lot of players in that fixture. And you can therefore.
But then, fine. Why should it? Why should part of the skill of FPL be? Maybe it is, but like knowing who Pep's going to pick. That feels just
but what if? I don't know, because you could still then get screwed over by, if Pep's playing, if City are playing on a Monday evening or all those other fixtures, you've still got to play by those rules of trying to guess, and you might get unlucky here and there with lineups.
That's a fair point.
So I don't like the idea of having favourable information just for one fixture. It then, if you're guaranteed a starter in that fixture, then you might end up captaining the wrong person. Let's say if Liverpool were the early kickoff, but Haaland was the
that could influence your captaincy.
Yeah, you're like, well, I know Salah's definitely going to start in this easy fixture. I'll captain him, but in your heart of hearts, you might have wanted Haaland.
Yeah.
So for me, that's why I like all 10 games to be the same. If they could somehow open up,
that's a very good point.
It doesn't really work, does it? But if all games were the same time, then absolutely,
then
kickoff
fine.
for me would be perfect. But for me, I want all or nothing. You either know no information for 10 games, or you know all the information. If that makes sense.
Because you'd so be influenced by that first fixture. Yeah, that is a fair point. Oh, it's a conundrum that the big wigs at FPL Towers are going to have to work out, isn't it?
Yeah. I think they will, because a few seasons ago it was an hour before the deadline, and because of they changed it because people were leaking for FPL, which then obviously informed the real life decisions for managers that had impact. So they
I
changed it
don't
to
mind.
that. So
The thing is, right, is that like I saw the guys on FML FPL who I do love. It's a brilliant podcast if you haven't listened to that FML FPL. Two American guys are very funny, and they was like getting very annoyed at like FPL Rockstar and the kind of people that do leaks these things. Also this week, I don't know if you know this, but I changed FPL Bhuna. If you don't know who FPL Bhuna is, right, what he does is he pretends to be other Twitter accounts and trolls us all. And I hate it, and I hate him, and I think it's stupid. But I also am very impressed by it. Now, I'm verified on Twitter, not for very long, thanks to Elon Musk. He's going to change it, so I've got to pay $8, and I'm not going to be doing that, right? But I changed my name to FPL Bhuna and just said, finally, I can't believe they've verified me. Let the carnage begin. And I got 800 retweets. I gained about 1,000 followers of all these people going, nice one, Bhuna. And then he messaged me going, I cannot believe you've done this. But I think he enjoyed it as well. So to troll, to Bhuna, come on. That is, I was very proud of that one.
That's class. Yeah, I was seeing people talk about. I think people were saying about that on WhatsApp groups. Like, Boona's got verified. So
yes.
I want. Hopefully, Boona watches this, and I
say
that
I will.
It annoys so many people, but that's why it is funny. For me, I don't see it as a massive issue personally because I can see through it. But for people not as involved in FPL Twitter or whatever, or Twitter in general, they can. He does a good job at masking it because he'll just change one letter. He'll change
he's getting more and more creative.
Yeah, it'll be like the letter I. He'll change to an L that look virtually the same, or he'll put one extra letter in. So yeah, it's very good. Especially, it works better if it's not a verified account, but a trusted account who leaks information. He can then change
exactly that. Yeah.
And he normally gets the style correct as well of whoever he's trying to mimic.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just love seeing people annoyed. So fair play, Bhuna.
Keep at it, Bhuna. I love it because he's having to get more and more creative. Because he changed his handle completely to this sort of FPL team and news or one of the ones. And I looked at it, I went, I was like, this isn't Bhuna. This just isn't. And I was like, I know he's got the similar amount of followers as Bhuna, but no, he's changed it. I was like, he can't have done. And then actually, the information he tried to leak was right anyway.
It ended up being right.
But
I saw another stream of people talking about that. It was Gianni and and Ed on their one, and they were like, Ed was like, no, this time it's not Bhuna, it's real. And Gianni was like, it's Bhuna. And they're going back and forth, and eventually they prove it's Bhuna.
I love it. It's like, no, it's not Bhuna. It's not Bhuna. I love it.
They were trying to spread that info.
That is now part of FPL vernacular. Is like, I know. Is it Bhuna? Is it? I mean, fair play to you, FPL Bhuna. You have now become It's like people get information, and the first thing they have to check is if it's FPL Bhuna.
Yeah. And do you know what I see now? Right, it's like legit journalists, is it David Ordenstein with a blue tick, and all these other people and he'll tweet some news or something, and people are replying saying, "Yeah, good one, Bhuna. I'm not falling for it." Yes. And it's getting a load of likes and stuff because obviously everyone gets the joke.
I love it. Nice one, Bhuna. Maybe I'll try and get Bhuna on here, and we can. He's like Banksy. He's the FPL Banksy. We can reveal the man. Excellent. Now I'm already aware we've already done 33 minutes, and I promised we wouldn't go mad. So right now, but you're just so interested to talk to. Now I'm going to quickly go through some teams with good fixtures and the possible players we're going to be looking at. Now, I love FPL Focal. Oscar does great stuff. I'm getting ready to take the mickey out of his voice, but not just yet because No, I'm going to do a little bit FPL, Oscar, because you everything goes. So these are the players I'm looking at this week. If you've been watching it, you'll be looking at the Man City players. Obviously, they're playing well this week, but we've got to be checking if Haaland is playing. So, listen, just a little bit more musicality in your voice, Oscar. Let's come on here and I'll teach you all. Just get a little bit more musicality. That's all I'm looking for. But he does a great stream about the sort of players to be looking out for. And I'm sort of doing something similar, but a little bit more in depth. So the first players I want to look at is the Man City players. Now, obviously, Wes, Haaland didn't play last night. He didn't train. De Bruyne came on. Foden played. I've got Foden, you've got Foden, I've got Haaland. Yeah. What do we do? This feels like the sort of crux of what we're going to do this week is on this team.
It is worrying. With Foden, I was happy that he actually started the game. I know a lot of other people who have Foden were worried that he started him. I was happy he started. I wasn't happy he got 90. I wanted him to get 60 because if he'd have been benched again, that would have mean he'd have been benched 3 times out of City's last 4 games, which indicates to me that's not resting a player, that's dropping a player.
Yeah.
So I was definitely didn't want him to be benched because, like I said, 3 out of 4 is like, then he's just favouring other players. But yeah, I wanted him to come off on like the 60th minute ready for the weekend. But in terms of him starting last night and even playing 90, I'm not worried in terms of a build-up of like, he's not been overplayed, obviously. We know that because he's been benched the last 2 Premier League games.
Yeah.
He only played 80 versus Dortmund. The midweek of blank game week 12, which wasn't that long ago, was when only Man City and Arsenal didn't play in the Prem. So all of the Prem players played. And even Arsenal had a Europa game, so they played. So yeah, Man City's team is really fresh in terms of that break. And yeah, I don't think Foden, Pep's not going to look at this and think Foden needs a rest. It's not about, oh, he's played 91 week, midweek, so therefore he can't play at the weekend. He can play back to back 90 minutes. It's the fact that if he's played 90 minutes week in, week out for ages, then I'd be worried. So the only thing I'm worried about is just him not being picked again based on, he positive comments from Grealish Grealish last night. Mahrez scored a goal and played 90, to be fair. Bernardo Silva can do a job out there and only played 30 minutes last night. So there is risk he doesn't start again, but I'm not actually worried about the minutes build up in his legs by playing 90 last night. I think it's just a fact of hopefully Pep chooses him as he thinks he's the best option to play out of his sort of wingers.
Now, Man City have got their fixtures are Fulham at home, then Brentford at home. Like the best fixtures, really, from as far as how good City are. That these are the best fixtures, the best team, and they got the best fixtures. So surely we need 3 Man City players in this. Now, if Haaland's not playing, if Foden isn't going to get picked, now does that mean I need to do a -4? Do I need to be looking at bringing in Alvarez? He's not even on this thing here, but do I need to be looking at bringing in Alvarez and De Bruyne, which I could do?
Yeah, that's the tricky thing. And for me and a lot of others would have had Tony getting suspended, so a lot of us would have done Tony to Wilson.
I've got Mitrovic, who I don't want Mitrovic playing City away, so my transfer was going to just be Mitrovic to Wilson, easy. But if I've not got Haaland and I've got the Foden, then that's a problem.
It's tough, isn't it? For me, I'm sticking by Foden's not injured. He might not start. I'm not guaranteeing he will, but for me, because I've got other fires to put out and I don't want to be taking a minus to remove Foden before those 2 home fixtures when he could play. Predicting Pep is notoriously hard. So I think now he's in. I wouldn't bring Foden in this week because of the risk, but as I've got him, I'm going to hold him. It's a classic case of don't buy, don't sell. For me, anyway, in my opinion. And in terms of Haaland, it's one of those, for me, if we get news Haaland's out, and if he's out for both games, then Haaland to Alvarez or Haaland to Kane maybe would be a decent move. But it's so dependent on the news. I want to stick by Haaland if possible.
Of course.
If I think he's got a chance to play, we know how good Haaland is.
Yeah.
It's just so awkward when it's like a doubt. And if
the
he
good
misses
thing
one
is,
out
though,
of the next 2 Prem games.
The good thing is if we're talking leakage again, the good thing is there's loads of 3 o'clock games, no early kickoff. And we'll get to the fixtures, but so there is a chance we'll get early team news on this. So that's why I'm just going to hold my transfer until as close to the deadline. I've said this before. Don't leave it too late because the site crashed with 2 minutes to go. So I think 5 minutes before has got to be your cut off. And then if you can't do it, then you're just going to have to be, because so many people message me going, I tried to make my changes. And I'm like, yeah, but you did it with 80 seconds to go. That's kind of your fault, really, It
happened to a lot of people. And some people, the transfer, I know one guy who the transfer just about went through in time, but he ended up leaving that. He did the transfer for a bench player, so he couldn't quite get the bench player into his starting lineup. So his transfer was just stuck second bench. And I think they score quite well as well.
My advice
that can happen.
Would be plan what you're going to do if you hear X happening. So if you hear Foden is benched, go, right, well, my plan is to bring in Saka. So have that ready on your laptop. And then when you hear the news, make your little decision and you're 1 click away. Anyone else you think worth looking at it? Because I know obviously it's very easy to just go, well, De Bruyne, Foden, Cancelo, Haaland. But looking at Bernardo, he's got 61 points. Foden's got 66. He's having a good season quietly, Bernardo. Anyone else that you would think about picking from Man City?
Yeah, no, because their spots are so, I wouldn't want to waste a Man City spot on the likes of an Ederson, who will probably get 2 clean sheets over the next 2 anyway, or someone he rotates his defenders quite a lot these days, so you can't.
Diaz is only just back in the day. Isn't he?
Yeah, back in the day you could rely on Diaz, but sometimes there's Diaz, Laporte, Stones, and Akanji and Ake, and so for that reason, and because I don't want to waste a Man City spot, it is about the main players. It is your Haalands, your De Bruynes, your Cancelos, your Fodens.
Yes.
And even you just mentioned Bernardo there. I get that, but for me, again, I can't see a world where I'd go there. The only sort of fringe player I would go to would be Alvarez if I knew Haaland was out.
Yes, because he's their only other backup striker.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I still think if I hear that Haaland and Foden aren't in again, I think I might go Haaland to Wilson and Foden to De Bruyne and captain De Bruyne.
Yeah, that makes sense if we get that news, for sure.
If we get that news. Okay, so that's the Man City team. Right, we're going to go to the Arsenal players now. Go on, the Arsenal. Who do you support, by the way?
Well, back in the day, as a kid, it was Arsenal in the Prem, but because I'm from Northampton,
the Cobblers?
You've got to pick one team, really. The Cobblers, yeah.
Get in there. Good man. I've just been watching that Wrexham documentary, so I'm feeling sort of like an honorary Wrexham fan now. Now, anyone from Arsenal, obviously everyone's got Martinelli. Jesus looked great. I mean, this is the thing. I was at the game, and the guy I'm chasing, Chris, he had Jesus. So I'm sitting there every time Jesus gets an assist. I'm like, oh, trying to enjoy the Arsenal game. But anyone on here that you think is any sort of people to be looking out for or moves to make?
Xhaka in his new role, his new number 8 role, his new attacking role, goals and assists coming from him. A blank last game, obviously, and he's not in that role, in that number 8 role. It's not the most advanced position, is it? We like those midfielders who basically play as forwards, don't we? The Sakas, the Salahs, the Sons of the world who play as wingers / they're basically forwards, aren't they? In FPL, they're midfielders. Xhaka's not quite that, but he is obviously 5 point. I haven't got the image in front of me, but 5.2-ish. Even better. So he's really cheap. And he is obviously getting the points as well. So, yeah, Saka's back from his injuries. If people haven't seen the news, he's not actually injured. He's fine.
Exactly. He was in training, but I mean, I think Arteta will start with a strong team tonight. We need to win tonight. So make sure we have the best chance of winning the group. So we need to start him tonight. So I'd be interested to see if Saka starts. Although the thing is, how well Nelson did, I would say Nelson's probably going to start ahead of Saka tonight.
Possibly. But definitely watch out for Arsenal team news tonight. But I think, in terms of Arsenal, Jesus, he is, so in terms of being 1 yellow card away from a suspension, right? So this goes across all players. It's not that much of a big worry anymore because Jesus just has to survive one more game without the yellow. Because if you bring in Jesus now and he doesn't get yellow, you're sorted, because even if he gets it in game week 16, we're all getting unlimited transfers in game week 17 to sort that out anyway. So don't play with fear about the 4 yellow card thing anymore.
And with the yellow card thing, does it stop at the World Cup, or does it go through to 19 games?
It's game week. It's when each club has played 19 games, which is going to be depending on
21 now,
if they've had something like that for certain players. But what I'm saying is, if you have Jesus now, you only need to survive 2 fixtures, because in game week 17, if you don't want him anymore and he's still on 4 yellows, you can get rid. Or if he's on 5 yellows at that point, he's an obviously easy sell. He did look really good. He should have probably scored from that Ben White.
He should have had a hat trick. He should have had a hat trick.
Yeah, he should have had another. He should have had another assist for Nelson, but Nelson missed his first shot, didn't he? Then scored the rebound, which took away the assist. But he still got 2 assists. The fixtures for Arsenal, though,
Chelsea away, Wolves away.
It's Wolves away. Historically, though, I'd have said that's quite tough fixtures for attackers going to those 2 places. But right now, they're both a bit out of form, aren't they? So they are decent fixtures, and especially with how good Arsenal are, I can see goals there. I think with that, as an Arsenal fan, you probably know more, but I feel like obviously Jesus' last game should have got more points, and he did get a good return anyway. But in a lot of games, it feels like their goals are going to come from the likes of Saka, Martinelli, and Xhaka. But
the thing is, once Jesus scores 1, he will score lots. He really, and the thing is, as much as like my nemesis, Chris, he got 97 points with a -4. But it's the point is that actually Jesus should have got more. He really should have done, and I think he will. I'm not worried about him. He just needs another goal, and it wouldn't surprise me if he starts him tonight, to be honest with you. So I just think Jesus is a fantastic pick. Don't worry about the yellow cards. I mean, I've got Saka, Martinelli, and I've got Ben White. Ben White is great at that price. He almost got another assist as well. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal got 1 or even 2 clean sheets over these next 2 games. I watched on Black Box as thinks that Arsenal will keep a clean sheet against Chelsea, and so it's not my words, the words of Az. So I would just say that there's lots of Arsenal picks. The only reason not to go for Xhaka is because there's other picks, and also you don't need the money this year. So like maybe on the wild card.
Sorry, just quickly on Ben White, just to back up what you were saying. I really like him as an option as well because he is much more attacking than I thought he would be because he's getting down that. He got an assist for Xhaka against Southampton, I think, when he crossed it in. And obviously that flicking from the corner was needing an assist. But yeah, he's getting forward from open play with the likes of Tomiyasu in the left back slot, maybe staying a bit further back to sort of cover. So yeah, I do really like, if I was to go for an Arsenal defender, it would be Ben White for both. You save a bit of money and you get that assist threat as well.
Yeah. So that's Arsenal there. Now, next fixtures I want to have a look at is West Ham. So, have I got the right fixtures there? Where are they? Oh, hang on. What's happened here? No. Oh, that's why. Sorry, I turned off the wrong one. No, sorry, Newcastle fixtures. Now, Newcastle have been playing absolutely brilliantly well. Is the time now we have to get one or two of Almiron and Wilson? We've all got Trippier.
Yeah, like you said, we've all got Trippier. A lot of us have got Pope as well, like I have. So I'm actually blocked out of getting both Almiron and Wilson. So I've gone for Wilson because I had a Tony issue to sort out. If I'd have had a midfield issue to sort out, I'd have happily gone for Almiron. I like both of them, especially Almiron saves a lot of budget, the extra point for a goal from midfield as well, and his form is amazing. So absolutely, I think triple Newcastle it's not a must because you don't need to tear up your team necessarily. But yeah, I think, like you say, everyone's got Trippier. A lot have got Pope already. So at least get one of Trippier or Almiron this week, I'd say, if possible.
And Southampton away, Chelsea at home. Now, Southampton away, I mean, it annoys me as an Arsenal fan to say this because we only got a draw there, but they're rubbish. So, I think Newcastle is essential. And then Chelsea at home should be a hard fixture, but they're so good at home. I would be not worried at all about having Newcastle players at home to Chelsea. Their fans will be bang up for that.
Exactly. And the thing is, for me, because I've had the double Newcastle defence for a long time now, and what kept happening if you look at Pope, he's barely getting any save points these days. The last 6 games, I think he got one save point away at Spurs, but basically Newcastle aren't allowing shots on target. So they play in Pope. I've kind of got a keeper like back in the day when you'd have, say, maybe Edison, and it was basically a 2-pointer or a 6-pointer that either concede one or get a clean sheet and no save points. That's what's happening with Pope. So I like that because that's got a really high chance of, if they're not letting shots on target, really high chance of a clean sheet. And the only reason they haven't got more clean sheets over this last 6 game weeks is easy home games have just got a little bit sloppy. At home to Bournemouth, just conceding one sloppy goal. It wasn't like a goal was coming, they're just conceding that one sloppy goal.
Oh, I know, Wes, because that's when I had Pope. I know, mate. Yeah. That's when I had double Newcastle, and no one else did. Not no one else in the world, but no one else in my mini league did. And it kept being like, oh, brilliant, he's conceded again, whilst Ward was racking up the points.
Yeah, it was so frustrating because if you have a keeper where there's not shots on target and a goal goes in, you're screwed, because at least if you've got a goalkeeper that does concede but has a load of shots on target, they can still get like a 3 or 4 or 5 pointer.
Yeah.
If there's no save points and a little scabby goal goes in, like against the worst one for Newcastle was a few games ago away at Fulham. They battered them 4-0. There was no shots even off or on target in the first 85 minutes or something. One attack near the end, they were 4-0 up and they just score a goal. And it's like, it's an absolute wounder because Pope loses that clean sheet that was almost nailed on. If you've got a keeper that's, the other team's attacking loads or they're about to score, you can kind of accept it. But that was really hard to accept. That should have been a locked-in clean sheet and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I totally, mate, you're bringing back bad memories. Okay, so, look, there's those Newcastle options are up there. Obviously Wilson and Almiron. Trippier is like, I call him a complete works of Shakespeare player, because it's like on Desert Island Discs, you already start with the complete works of Shakespeare. So Trippier has become one of those players. Like, if you ain't got Trippier by now, what the hell are you doing? But Almiron and Wilson, don't worry about the prices. Look, Almiron is clearly an £8 million player this year, but for 5.6. I mean, I know people have got him at 5. It was 5, wasn't he, at the beginning? Jesus.
I think so, yeah.
And then Wilson at 7.5. I think Wilson's going to be my transfer, whatever I do, even if I just do Mitrovic to Wilson. But I might do, like I said earlier, with Haaland to Wilson. Okay, so Oh, yeah. One question I'll ask you, actually, before we move on from that is, so, for instance, right, in my mini league, Chris, my Nema Chris, he's got Wilson and Almiron. So I'm obviously chasing, but I'm going, I just can't, like, do I try and be different? Do I try and go
No.
to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, or do you think just pick the best players for now?
Yeah, for me, a big bit of advice that I always give is forget about your mini league rivals. Just focus on your own team. Focus about maximising your points, and by the end of the season, playing that way, you should beat them. Because if you try and you're giving yourself a worse asset than say Wilson, who should score really well over the next two, as some sort of gamble when you don't need to do that. If it's game week 37, then sure, be a bit different. Like I said with my Madison example, last season, making him captain when no one else really did. But right now, definitely not. Just focus on getting the points, and then maybe your fringe players, your different players to him, will do better. So I'm not saying copy people ahead of you. I'm saying forget them. If you end up being differential from them, great. If you end up being the same as them, so be it. Maximize your points. Let other differentials catch up those points to your Nema Chris. And especially as you've got this pod now, you want to do well in the overalls rankings as well. So just focus on that and let your mini leagues take care of themselves.
My worst I've ever finished is 600,000th 10 years ago, and now I've started a YouTube channel. I'm 1.6 million. Right, quickly, because we're on 51 minutes. You're too interesting. Right, we're on to Brighton players. Anyone from Brighton? They've got two fantastic fixtures. They got Brighton. They've got Wolves away and then Villa at home. What are you thinking, Brighton players?
Yeah, I'll try and prioritise rather than listing all the good players they've got. I'll just prioritise them to two.
Yeah,
which would be there's no forwards I fancy from there, so it would be Trossard out midfielders. I know Gross popped up with a goal again last week, but yeah, Trossard's the man from there in midfield. Defensively, I'd personally go for Webster, a little bit more goal threat than Dunk when I did a little bit of research on them a little while ago. They're both very similar in terms of Webster or Dunk, to be fair, but if I had to pick one, it would be Webster. So yeah, I'll just go those two from Brighton.
Okay, yeah, and obviously they've got Villa at home coming up, but now with good evening coming in, I think maybe don't look at Villa as just that automatic win. So I mean, Trossard. I think everyone's looking at Trossard now. Again, obviously everyone got frustrated because they sold him for Foden, and then Foden's done nothing, and now Trossard's banging him in again. But do you if you were rating the likes of Almiron, Saka, Trossard, like would he challenge Rashford any of those three? Rashford as well. Would he challenge in that four of being a definite pick?
Yeah, for me, it's why it's hard to now go back to Trossard because if I was looking to bring in a midfielder around that price, I would go for Almiron. I would go for Rashford. Over him.
He's 6.9. Yeah,
like you said, I haven't even got Saka on my team, so I'd probably prioritise those over Trossard, but that's not to put anyone off Trossard. It's just my sort of favoured list. That's not me saying Trossard will blank the next two. He'll probably score quite well.
Okay, now look, I'm going to move on quickly to West Ham because they've got two fantastic fixtures. Crystal Palace at home, Leicester at home. Probably the best fixtures, actually, aside from Man City, the best fixtures at home. Anyone from there you would be looking at bringing in, or would you stay
West Ham are difficult. A couple of game weeks ago, I really liked the look of Skamaka. He was looking on form, scoring goals, taking loads of shots.
Mm-hmm.
But last game week away at Old Trafford, they need a goal. They're 1-0 down. What do? They take Skamaka off on the 57th minute for a one-pointer and bring on Antonio, who did well in the last half an hour. So I think Skamaka probably starts again this weekend, but I don't want to bring in a player who is going to get subbed off even if they need a goal. Like that's just isn't the type of player I want to bring in when Antonio's too good of Antonio's not a pure just backup player, is he? No. He's a very good player in his own right. So if Antonio was injured, I'd be all over Skamaka. But with like I said, Antonio there sharing game time, and with other forwards like Wilson to prioritise, Calvert-Lewin's got a couple of decent fixtures. I just wouldn't go for Skamaka or Antonio.
Too many good forwards out there to be going for Skamaka, in my opinion. What about Bowen? I sold Bowen for Rashford last week, so I'm happy with that. Nice. What about Bowen? Obviously, FPL royalty after last season, but what's your thoughts on Bowen?
Yeah, same as you. I sold Bowen last week, annoyingly for Foden. But what was I going to say about Bowen? Yeah, two good fixtures. He's not as central this year. He's now off penalties because he missed a penalty I had him in that Liverpool game.
Did you?
And I was just I was devastated about that. So he hasn't got penalties anymore. Like I said, not essential. His form over the course of the season hasn't been as good. However, he has got those two good fixtures. So like I said, I'd avoid forwards from West Ham. The defenders aren't that inspiring in terms of what they offer. Attacking wise, maybe a Zuma header from a corner.
Yeah.
So you could look at him. Fabianski got maybe injured last game. I don't know.
Yeah,
what's
he's got a
happening
yellow
there.
flag on there, so I don't know that for sure. I'd have to wait until.
So for me,
Moisey, find out what Moisey says.
Exactly. Yeah. So for me, it's just West Ham. It would just be Bowen I'd consider, and that's despite him trolling me recently. He's still a good option with those 2 good fixtures.
Okay. I'm going to quickly move on to Everton, who do have great fixtures as well. I've got Pickford there. Now, Everton have got Leicester at home, Bournemouth away. Any differentials there that you could be excited by?
Yeah, if you need, especially if you're making a move and you maybe you are looking to fund Foden to De Bruyne or something like that, then if you need some money, Patterson is 4.0 or maybe 4.1. I've got him. I've had him left over in my team for a little while now. Good to see him back. If you want a bit more of a solid, a bit more of a guaranteed starter, someone like Cody, again, a little bit of goal threat from corner these days. The midfielders, kind of a bit hit and miss. The likes of Iwobi, Gordon, and Damari Gray. So I don't think I'd really go Everton midfield. And if I couldn't, maybe this is another good point. If you've got Pope, Trippier, maybe Almiron, like I know some people have, so therefore you're locked out of Wilson. But you've got Tony that you need to replace or Mitrovic, then take a little punt on Calvert-Lewin. Now, normally I'd say, maybe don't. I'm normally a bit of a safe FPL player, but with just 2 game weeks left until we get limited free transfers, you've kind of got a get out of jail free card. So if you take a punt on Calvert-Lewin and it doesn't work out, he gets injured again, then it's only 2 game weeks. He's got 2 good fixtures. I'm happy to gamble on him because you don't have to waste a transfer. I always think like 6 game weeks ahead, am I going to have to waste a transfer getting out this gamble type player? But we're all getting unlimited transfers in game week 17, eliminates that thought process. So you can take a bit of a 2 game week punt on Calvert-Lewin.
Totally. And I love it. I love Calvert-Lewin. All the amount of times I saw goal Calvert-Lewin coming in. So I do love Calvert-Lewin, but I won't be going there just because there's just, again, too many options. Now, the final team, I just want to have a quick look at. I mean, it could be just one word answer. But Nottingham Forest, right? They have got Brentford at home, who haven't got Tony, and then they've got Palace at home. Is there anyone from Brentford would you think, because Nico Williams, is he going to start? I've got Nico Williams. I'm deciding between starting Nico Williams and Ben White this week.
Yeah, very similar to my dilemma. I'm considering starting him or Eric Dyer, who's got Liverpool at home. So, and obviously Dyer's normally a shoe in to start. I think I'm leaning towards starting Nico and hoping he does.
Surely they keep a clean sheet this week.
Yeah, you'd hope so. There's a little bit of a worry with, like you say, with is it Lodi and Aurier?
Aurier, but Aurier's rubbish. Yeah. He needs to stop picking him. Williams is so much better.
I know. That's what I'm hoping he gets a start this week. I think I will go for it, and just accept that if it, it could be egg on my face. But to summarise for Forest. Nico Williams is the only. He's a good budget enabler. He's got a good fixture this week. Forwards, avoid them all because they get rotated. You can't rely on them. And if you do want a midfielder, a punt, the best option there is Gibbs White. He takes corners. You can pop up with the odd goal, but you'd have a fairly good chance of an assist from Gibbs White because he's taking corners, etc. So again, I'm not saying go there. It's too hard to go there really with all those midfielders we've just listed: Trossard, Rashford, Almiron, blah blah. But maybe your budget's constrained and you can't get some of those or whatever.
Or you've got them already in your team. Yeah. And just don't be feared about starting them because I do think they're going to beat Brentford at home. And I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Palace at home as well. So, I think if you've got Nico Williams, I think maybe start him. The last thing then, this is a YouTube series, Wes, called Who's Your Captain? Now, very often I don't need to ask the question, right? Yeah. But this week, I feel like I can. Who is your captain for this week?
So we'll do. I'll say my captain and my vice captain. So my captain, as things stand, is Haaland.
Obvs.
Yeah. Should we get news that it's not him, it won't actually. I'm very much a player who pretty much always captains a premium. However, this week, looking at the fixtures, Salah's got Spurs away. He's my only the premium, and I've got Wilson away at Southampton. So he will become. My vice, I believe. If we get news, I think so. If we get news of, I don't know, it's tough though. Maybe with Foden, if I get news Foden starts home to Fulham and Haaland's out, do I then bottle it and go Foden captain? It all depends on those early leaks, doesn't it? But as of right now, what's locked in is Haaland captain, Wilson vice. I'm happy to captain Wilson should it come to that. And if I get news Foden's benched, I'll definitely captain Wilson, yeah.
I think I might go Wilson captain as well. But I also think if I find Haaland's out, I might go De Bruyne and then captain De Bruyne. But
Yeah,
that's
that's the
burnt me
thing, isn't
before.
it?
I don't know. Well, we've all got time to think about it. Wes, we're getting up to an hour. We've got 10 seconds before it is an hour. That has been so good. You give such clear advice. You're such a nice bloke as well. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much. Will you come back on the show another time?
Cheers, mate. Yes, and for sure. And I definitely want to get some. I want to get the clip of Bhuna and the clip of your Heisenberg impression.
Yes.
And I'll get them on my Twitter.
Thank you so much, my man. And you keep cooking them joints. And now, if you want to just mute yourself, but stay on, and I'll say a goodbye afterwards. I'll do a goodbye here, and then I'll chat to you afterwards. Thank you so much, Wes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's Wes. You can follow him at FPL Heisenberg. And he tweets brilliant stuff. He's great with advice. I mean, you've heard it all there. So you can follow him at FPL Heisenberg, and he works for The Hub, and they do fantastic stuff as well. I am Luke Kempner. Thank you very much. Thanks so much for coming along. If you like the video, like and subscribe. We need to get to 125 by next week. Come on, that's easy stuff. Please, please, please have a good week, and I hope it is worse than mine. Thank you so much, everyone. Goodbye.